She refused to answer one question, and it might be the smartest, or the most cowardly, thing Caitlin Clark has ever done. What if staying silent was actually a strategy? Caitlin Clark, the most famous face in women's basketball, was asked a simple question by a reporter. She didn't take the bait. She didn't pick a side. And that 15 seconds of careful, guarded non-answer has now become one of the most talked about moments of the WNBA season. Today we're breaking down exactly what happened, why her teammate Sophie Cunningham is at the center of a national firestorm, and why this single moment says more about the state of women's sports than almost anything else this year. Stick with us, this one gets deep. Look, if you made it this far, you clearly care about this league as much as we do. Moments like this are exactly why we started this channel, to break down not just the box scores but the real stories happening behind the scenes in women's basketball, the pressure these athletes are under, the decisions they have to make in real time, and what it all means for the future of the sport we love. If this kind of honest, no-agenda breakdown is something you want more of, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep growing, and it means we get to keep bringing you this coverage every single week. Drop a comment too, we want to know where you stand on this. Thanks for watching WNBA Analysis. We'll see you in the next one. It started with an ESPN profile. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham was asked a fairly ordinary question about her views on transgender athletes competing in women's sports, and she gave a fairly direct answer. She said she wanted to protect young girls in locker rooms and in competition from having to face athletes who went through male puberty. She said it plainly, no hedging, no spin, and almost immediately the backlash and the support arrived in equal, deafening measure. Within days, Cunningham's comments were everywhere. Fans started showing up to Fever games with signs. Some read, "Trans kids belong in sports." Others read, "XXXY," a reference to biological sex chromosomes. At one game, Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve wore a shirt reading "Trans kids belong," and made a point of speaking with Cunningham directly before tip-off. Commentators, athletes, and even political figures weighed in from every direction. This wasn't just a basketball story anymore. It had become a full-blown culture war flashpoint, playing out under the bright lights of a national broadcast. And that's exactly where Caitlin Clark got caught in the middle. As Cunningham's teammate, and as the single biggest draw in the history of the league, reporters inevitably turned to Clark and asked her to weigh in. Her answer was careful, almost clinical. She said it wasn't a conversation her locker room was really having, that it was an issue for leagues and governing bodies to sort out with their athletes, and that her focus was strictly on basketball. When a reporter pushed for more, she didn't budge. No endorsement of Cunningham's position. No criticism of it either. Just a wall. For some, that was smart. Clark is the most scrutinized athlete in the sport right now, and anything she says gets amplified 100 times over. Staying neutral protects her brand, her sponsors, and her ability to just play basketball without becoming a walking headline every single day. For others, that neutrality felt like a dodge, especially because Clark has weighed in on political and social topics before. Critics point out that plenty of high-profile WNBA veterans have spoken openly about political issues over the years and were praised for using their platform. So when Clark chose silence on this particular issue, some commentators accused her of picking her moments selectively, only speaking up when it's safe. Here's what makes this genuinely complicated. Polling on this specific question, whether transgender women should compete in women's sports, consistently shows a large majority of the public leaning toward Cunningham's position. At the same time, this is a subject with real people on both sides of it. Athletes worried about fairness and safety in competition, and transgender people who simply want the chance to participate in the sport they love without being treated as a threat. Sports governing bodies, from the NCAA to the International Olympic Committee, have shifted their policies in recent years, and more than 24 states have passed their own laws on the issue. This isn't a fringe debate. It's playing out in real policy, in real locker rooms, in real arenas, and there is no easy, universally satisfying answer here for anyone involved. That's the tension Caitlin Clark is standing in the middle of. Say something and she risks alienating a huge chunk of her audience no matter which side she picks. Say nothing and she risks being accused of cowardice by people on every side of the debate. There may genuinely be no version of this where she comes out unscathed, and maybe that's exactly why she chose to say nothing at all. So where does that leave the league? The WNBA is more popular right now than it has ever been, largely because of Clark's arrival and the attention it brought. But that same spotlight means every controversy now gets magnified into a national story. Whether that's good for the sport long-term, or whether it's pulling focus away from the actual basketball, is something reasonable people disagree on. Look, if you made it this far, you clearly care about this league as much as we do. Moments like this are exactly why we started this channel, to break down not just the box scores but the real stories happening behind the scenes in women's basketball, the pressure these athletes are under, the decisions they have to make in real time, and what it all means for the future of the sport we love. If this kind of honest, no-agenda breakdown is something you want more of, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep growing, and it means we get to keep bringing you this coverage every single week. Drop a comment too. We want to know where you stand on this. Thanks for watching WNBA Analysis. We'll see you in the next one.